Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Simon and today I am back to tell you all about a new favourite book. So I actually intended to do this throughout last year but only ever did it for one book, which was the brilliant The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr., which I absolutely adored. And I think there are certain books that come into your life, it doesn't happen very often, but that sort of change you a little bit and just change who you are as a reader, and this was very much the case for me. I then should have done it for Sarah Winman's Still Life, because that's a book that I felt very similar about in terms of how much I loved it and how it meant so much to me, but didn't. And so this year I decided I was going to try and do it whenever I have a book like that come into my life. And it might not be every month, it might only be like, maybe this will be the last one, who can say, but let's hope not. But the book that I started started the year off with, that's not true, it's not the first book I read, but the first book, a new favourite book of 2022, was Elif Shafak's The Island of Missing Trees, and I'll link that video down below where I wang on about how much I blinking love this, because it is, I just think it's utterly phenomenal. And I will be honest, at the moment it's the one to beat for me on the Women's Prize long list. So there we go, I've said it. Sorry, a quick edit because I had to put the books under the one that I'm going to show you in a minute when I finish teasing you a little bit longer, because I don't have a table on either side of this chair yet, which is the aim. I've done quite a big library makeover, which you'll see some of in the next video, and a whole video of me doing it and sorting the shelves out and everything soon. But anyway, enough of that. On to what this new favourite book is. Now, some of you may have guessed what it might be because I talked about it in my Women's Prize predictions video. I think it was too short in terms of word count. Well, that's what I'm telling myself, because otherwise it's been robbed. But also I mentioned it in a video that I did with the wonderful Kate of Harris and Harris Books, where she recommended me 5 books off the shelves in her bookshop, and I picked this one as one that I wanted you to all go to her bookshop online and buy. And it is, drum roll, or something along those lines. I feel like I've teased you way too long now, you've probably all switched off, but it is Violets by Alex Hyde, which is one of the most beautiful, haunting, heartbreaking and hopeful books I have read in quite some time. It is a book that, well, made me cry, frankly, on several different occasions, pretty much from like a couple of pages in, as I will share with you. But I'm realising, actually, I'm not a big crier with books, but when I do, those tend to be like the aforementioned Island of Missing Trees and The Prophets, the kind of books, and Still Life by Sarah Winman, that really, really stay with me, because either through some way the book chiming with me and making me feel utterly emotional because of something that resonates with me personally, or just the power, particularly in this case, actually, well, actually, yeah, and in the other books, although the other books, I guess, had some moments that linked to me personally. Anyway, back to this one. But this book, I have experienced nothing like the main characters in these pages, and yet having read this book, I really feel like, well, I have, and that I knew these women, which is incredibly powerful when you take into account that the book is made up of vignettes and is quite a speedy, short, sharp read, which is why I think it didn't make it onto the Women's Prize long list, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, because otherwise, fuming. And I just think it's such an incredible moment when books do this, and I think Alex Hyde to do this on a debut novel, I mean, I'm not saying she's done it with every reader, but certainly with me, is just, yeah, it's something that still, after all the years that I've read, blows me away when an author can do this. And also it really surprised me, because actually, when I got the proof, I wasn't sure it was a book that I wanted to read. And I have to say, Wordle ended up making me read it, because in a reading blog that you'll never see because it went all awry and I just deleted it all, I had a blog that I was going to do where Wordle picked my next read, and one of the Wordle words was ultra, and so I was like, ultraviolet, violets, job done. And the proof was a very unassuming tan copy, which just had like the title on it in black. It was literally, you know, I mean, this cover is so beautiful, but it was something that I wasn't sure about, and also was set in the Second World War, and I don't tend to enjoy books that are set in the Second World War, because I studied it so much at school. I think I might have been in a year where for some reason just every single year on the syllabus that was what you learn. I think I got a little bit of Tudors, a sprinkling of Vikings, and maybe a sniff at a Roman, but that was like literally it was World War II, World War One, which are very important to know about, but I would have liked like a variety of other things that I needed to learn about history in the UK, but that's a whole different video possibly. Anyway, so I was a bit like unsure about it, but I thought, right, Wordle's made me pick it. And then I opened it up and started reading, and I couldn't put it down. I know that's a massive cliche, but sometimes I am one, in the fact that I don't even think I read this I think I only had a break to make a cup of tea in the time that I read it. And I just started reading it and just started weeping pretty early on, because what is the book about, Simon? 5 odd minutes in. The book is about two women called Violet, hence Violets. And one of them the first Violet that we meet is on a hospital ward. She was pregnant. She sadly lost her, I think it's twins. And in the most flippant, brutal, heartbreaking way that made me cry, number one, she is told that she will no longer be able to have children herself. And it's such a haunting scene because, one, it's so shocking for her. So because of the way that Alex Hyde writes emotions so rawly, it's a huge shock for us. It's done in such a flippant way, but also Violet then starts to worry about, well, what does this mean for her as a woman? What does this mean for her and her marriage to Fred, who then is sent off to Burma? So it kind of leaves this huge gap in communication between the two of them. It also makes her incredibly isolated, and she starts to worry that she's going to be ostracised by the people that she knows. And while she isn't, there are some awkward moments that happen that go through that I won't spoil, because I want you to go and read it and just to unravel for you, and you to just go on this emotional journey with Violet, number one. The other Violet that we meet is another young woman who is living in the Welsh Hills, and she has had a relationship with a soldier. He's now gone back to Poland, I believe it is, and she is pregnant. And she knows that where she lives, I mean, society at the time, being pregnant out of wedlock, so much judgment. And so what she decides to do is pretty much literally run away, but goes and enlists to support the war and gets sent out to Naples. And we follow her on the journey. I mean, some of the book is set on a boat. I don't like books set on boats. I blinking love this one. So it's kind of dispelled two myths for me, actually, this book, both Second World War and books set on boats. But there she meets she makes a charismatic friend called Maggie. And there's just a little extra spark between them that we then follow. And we also follow as she can't hide being pregnant for that long. And as you may guess, the two stories converge. I won't say in what way, but I will say that it's a personal story based on Alex's father or grandfather. And speaking of fathers, actually, whilst this book is very much about these two women, I have to say towards the end, there is a depiction of fatherhood that moved me so much I cried again. I mean, I know my dad, but I didn't know him until I was 16, and I think maybe something here resonated there. But just the love in this book, and the loss as well, actually, in some ways, is so... I think that's the technical term. I can't really put it in any other way. It's making me feel very emotional about it now. And I think what it does do in a lot of ways is really show you the two spectrums of emotion, of utter devastation and then utter pure joy. But also we go the other way from sort of uncertainty and hope to then hope with a sort of sprinkling and ripples of loss, whilst other people have just hope and joy. And I thought the way that we get those two different insights into the range of emotions that we can go through as people was just brilliantly done. I think this is a phenomenal book. I would almost go as far to say for me this was a perfect book. I should say, I don't know if I showed you this, it's written in vignettes, which is savage catnip, frankly, so I thought I would like it for that. That was kind of what made me go, okay, I'll give this book a go. But also throughout, as we alternate between the two women, we get these sort of moments of poetry. and it's all the poems are dedicated, I can't show you that really, to Pramboy, who becomes a big important character or big important part and character of the book. Are they a character? I guess they are, but a big point of the book is Pramboy, and it's how cleverly Alex Hyde does this thing where we follow the poetry to Pramboy from one woman and then switch it to the other, and I just thought that was done brilliantly. And at the end, with the final poem, at the end with the final poem, I was just absolutely off. So yeah, I can't recommend this book enough. I just think it is utterly brilliant, and to do it in such a sparse yet condensed way with the way we get these emotions. I think it is what I love about vignettes, because when they're written brilliantly like they are here, it's just, it feels so raw to read in just such a brilliant way. And I kind of was weeping heartbrokenly, but thanking Alex Hyde for making that happen to me, frankly, which is a kind of interesting relationship between someone who you've not met, who's made you feel that way through their writing, but again shows to me the power and the magic of books, especially books that just get you. So yeah, there we have it, Violets by Alex Hyde. I cannot recommend you read this enough. I just think it is utterly phenomenal. If you've read it already, let me know in the comments down below what you thought. If this has made you want to read it, let me know in the comments down below too, as well as if you would like me to do these videos for every new favourite that I find. It might mean, as I said earlier, like I don't have another one this year. It could mean that I have another one next week. Who knows? We're living on the edge, but very safely in a very comfortable chair. But yeah, I would love to also know what new favourite book or recent favourite book you have discovered. Tell me all about that in the comments down below. So that is it for this video. Short, sharpish one for me, but I'll be back with another video very soon. And yeah, I hope you're all doing super duper well, and let's chat about books in the comments below. Bye.